Hi, welcome back to Crafting a Country Life. I'm jumping on today because I have a few different things to share. I'm going to start off with some projects that I've made in the past week or two, and I'm going to work on sharing the paper crafting projects first, and then I'm going to share a sewing project, and I also have a really nice cookbook that I found recently that I thought I would really like to share because the recipes in it are just really, really nice. So if that's something that interests you, you can stick around until the end of the video, and if not, feel free to stop at any point and let's dig right in. So I wanted to do something with a sewing theme with my paper crafting this week. So I created some embroidery hoops. Here's the first one. And these are actually die cut. And I layered them with a foam layer to give them a little dimension. And then the background is just cardstock. And then in the center, I've added some, like a tiny button there, and some sentiment, and then a little, die cut scissor, and some ephemera here with a little bit of crochet cotton behind it. And then I used a gel pen to color in the screw that goes at the top of the embroidery hoop. I just love the colors on this. They're very springy. And now that Valentine's Day crafting is over, I'm looking forward to spending time working on some spring projects. Excuse me. And then here's the second one. Okay, so the same thing. I've used the Simple Stories Let's Get Crafty collection for this one, as well as the one that I just showed you. So there's ephemera in there, a little bit of fabric in the background here, this orange piece, and a little resin flower. And then I've popped these up on pop-up tape, foam tape, for some dimension. Excuse me. I'm just getting over a cold. It's been a while, but still a little bit of it kind of stuck in my chest there. And then this is the third one that I've done. Excuse me. And this one is done with the Pink Fresh Studios collection. It's called Happy Heart. Has a very pretty spring floral theme, and also has some handcrafting elements in the die cuts and the papers. But I thought that was pretty. And then I just layered it up with some lace and some mesh and a little button and some Nouveau drops. I just think these are really sweet. You can make adorable embellishments on the front of a journal or on a card, or just for giving in paper crafting swaps. And then I created a sewing themed tote, little craft tote there, or sewing tote, using a die cut, a die set that I had gotten on AliExpress a long time ago, and the package isn't marked, so I don't remember what the name of it was, but isn't this just adorable? And it has these little flaps on it, and it has some contrasting pieces that you can attach. And then I used one of my little yo-yo hearts up here in the corner. I did some stitching, machine stitching on the MDC card itself. And then I've used the Happy Hearts it's like a little wooden veneer piece with a embroidery on it, and some little paper flowers. And then I even created a tiny little die cut embroidery floss holder, and I wrapped some thread around it, added some Nouveau drops again, and some tiny little die cut pins here in the corner. And on top of those I added just a little bit of Nouveau drops to make them look like glass-headed pins. So I just love this, and I love the springy colors. And here in the Northeast we have a lot of snow blanketing everything, so to have a little bit of color just warms my heart. And yesterday my daughter and son-in-law and I went to a greenhouse in the state here where we live that has some beautiful tropical plants in it, and you walk into the greenhouse and the scent from the tropical flowers and the warmth of the air and the sun coming in through the greenhouse glass was just such a lift. Just really gives you such a lift to be around some green growing things in the late winter. So, you know, adding a little bit of pink and flowery colors kind of does the same thing for me when I'm in my studio. Yeah, so I created the little MDC card as well. I used some buttons in this project that I had gotten from the paper studio over at Hobby Lobby years ago. I've had this container of buttons for a long time, but I like the colors in it, and I use them a lot in my paper crafting. So that is the first project. Over here, I've got my Memory Decks card Rolodex, and there's a few MDC cards on there, but I've made a New Year's resolution to create more Memory Decks cards to put on my Memory Decks roller. So I'm going to add my little sewing themed project right on there so that I can enjoy that when I come in and sit at my work table. Okay, so the next project I wanted to share, I'm just going to move these out of the way a little bit. Okay, and these little embroidery hoops. The next project that I have to share with you is a sewing project. And I had gone through my fabric stash, which is quite substantial, and I pulled out some fabric, and I made this adorable apron. And this is a very simple tabard style vintage apron from the 1960s. So it has a front and a back, and then it has the pockets down here at the bottom, which I really wanted because in the summertime when I have my vegetable garden and I go out there to pick some vegetables, I can tuck them inside the pockets, you know, to bring them in the house. So that was sort of the reasoning behind making this particular apron. And I think it came out really well. This pattern was very, very simple to make. If you enjoy sewing and you're in need of some aprons, this one is Simplicity 9726, and I picked this up last week at Joann's. They were having a sale. I think the patterns were $1.99 each. So, a very fun project. And again, it's just a quilting fabric. And then what I did is I edged the pocket and the neckline with yellow rickrack, and I thought that is definitely a vintage flair from the 60s. You can see it here again at the neckline. And then I had some yellow bias tape in my trim container, so I ironed it, I folded it in half, and then I just did some machine stitching down along the center of it just to decorate the ties a little bit. So I'm looking forward to using this, and the bright springy colors just really sing to me, so I was happy to get that finished. And the next thing that I wanted to share is a cookbook that I have found recently, and this is put out by Kayla Lobermeyer, and I came across her YouTube channel. It's called Under a Tin Roof, and she does lots of like slow living country style cooking and decorating, and a lot of cooking. A lot of her videos show some lovely baking and recipes and that kind of thing. And the scene that she has set, her area where she does cooking, and I assume it's in her kitchen, her own kitchen there, but she has some lovely pottery and beautiful pieces that she uses in her videos. So I looked up her cookbook and I got myself a copy, and I wanted to share it because the recipes in here are absolutely wonderful. I don't think there's any that I wouldn't make. And these are wholesome heartland recipes for every season. And she has everything from main dishes to breakfast foods, sandwiches, salads, and hearty soups, home-cooked starters and sides, different kinds of bread, and then some desserts. So I just want to flip through and just show you quickly a couple of the recipes. Here's a berry baked oatmeal recipe. These are white peppered pork sausage gravy, which also looks really delicious. And then this garden tomato, basil, and bacon tart. And here are these lovely cinnamon walnut butter horns. Oh, they just look so mouth-watering, and her photographs are just really lovely. Here's a brioche cinnamon wreath. bread with cream cheese icing. I mean, these are definitely not low calorie, but they're hearty and wonderful for those times when we are not on diets or when you have guests or what have you. Here's a potato sausage and red pepper hash. That looks really wonderful too. So some of these things I imagine I'll be trying out when our children come to visit us and they stay over at our house for the weekend or what have you. These would be wonderful to have on hand. Cranberry brie and walnut pinwheels. Okay, and then the sandwiches. This is just so lovely. Pesto chicken panini, sun-dried tomato turkey sandwich, strawberry chicken salad on a croissant, individual pot pies, the soups, the butternut squash, apple and white cheddar. And they're not difficult. You know, the recipes are not difficult recipes. This looks wonderful. It's a rustic beef and pearled barley stew. It'd be wonderful for a winter lunch or supper. And then some roasted turkey recipe here. Roasted buffalo butterfly chicken and baby potatoes. This looks like a great skillet dinner. Yeah, just some lovely, lovely recipes. Here's a classic meatloaf with a sweet tomato sauce. Be great served up with mashed potatoes and string beans. Some baked apple butter pork chops. This is a summertime beer battered walleye fish. Yeah, some lovely, lovely recipes. Campfire Boston baked beans. Yeah, oh, prosciutto wrapped asparagus. And then the breads. And I've recently taken up, in the past year or so, I've taken up working on my own sourdough. So I've been experimenting with that and also experimenting with some sourdough discard recipes where I'm adding some yeast to some of the recipes just to, you know, hurry them along. And then others are the more traditional sourdough where you don't add additional yeast. And just they are wonderful and so hearty and delicious. And it's nice knowing where your ingredients come from. We've been staying away from buying prepackaged foods, and especially since the prices of groceries have gone up so high. So it's been nice to really turn back to baking and cooking completely from scratch, and I'm enjoying the challenge of doing that as well. Puff pastries, all kinds of lovely things. Look at these fruit tarts. Raspberry almond galette. Yeah, I'm excited to try some of these recipes. They're just lovely. So again, that's by Kayla Lobermeyer, and it's called the Prairie Kitchen Cookbook. And that is what I have to share for today. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you enjoyed this slightly different format. I know a lot of my subscribers are paper crafters, but I know myself that I enjoy very much getting to know the people that I am subscribed to, and I enjoy hearing about the other things that they do, their lifestyles and their other crafts and arts that they work on. So let me know if you like this kind of format or not. And I thought it would be fun to try it this way and almost have my YouTubes a little bit more like in segments, you know, where it was sort of like a magazine approach where you have different topics within the video. So we'll see how it goes. And as in the future, as I have fun things to share, I will definitely share them, whether it be an interesting cookbook or a sewing project or a knitting project or paper crafting and journaling, mixed media and that sort of thing. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you back again soon. Take care.